everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Eternal Sassafras, and today we are talking about chairs. Now I know what you're thinking, another video about chairs and inspiration and ideas that have been done over and over and over again. But not today. I agree with you. There is a lot of stuff that's already been done, and there's a lot of tutorials that kind of recycle the same things over and over again. Today's chat is not about that. Today we are going to be talking about, how do you approach decorating? How do you approach furniture or architecture or building or redstone? And today we're going to start with the basics, which are chairs. So let's strap ourselves in, get ourselves nice and comfy, and don't forget to wear a seatbelt. Alright, so let's start with the basics, shall we? As you can see, we have right here something that almost everyone has seen. You got a classic chair with literally, it's very basic. It's definitely one of the more basic ones that you can get. But what does it have? And basically, what I like to ask myself when I start furniture, admittedly, I'm not the strongest or even consider myself very good at making furniture or making interiors very decorative. I definitely have a lot more skill in exteriors, but something that I try to ask myself is, what is the purpose? Why am I making this interior look how I am? And also, what do I want to do with it? So generally, no matter what I'm building, whether it's a piece of furniture like a bed or a chair or a kitchen, first of all, I like to ask, what am I trying to do? Do I want to tell a story with this setting? Do I want to have somebody walk in for the first time and be like, wow, I can tell that somebody lives here. I can tell that this is a living space, or I can tell there's history to this build, even though I made it yesterday. And so if that's one option, or sometimes you want to add detail to a build and you don't care so much about the story, or do you want your furniture to just be kind of like the background, or do you want it to be the main feature of that room? Because it's going to depend, and it's going to definitely change. So when you have something like a basic chair like this, usually it's just kind of, I just need a chair, or I need to fill space. And it doesn't matter what it looks like. It can be very simple, or it can be very complicated. So usually this is the easier option to go with, especially if you are wanting to add more details as you go. So if you want more furniture, typically, depending on the build, you might want to do something more basic. Or again, moving on to the one that most people have seen as well, is the good old classic trapdoors and a full-length door and a slab, or sometimes it's a staircase, or anything really that makes it look like a chair. And again, what do you want to do? Do I want something that's a small chair that's not going to take up much space, so I can add like a painting above it or more details, or do I want something that might take up a little bit more space, like a full back chair like this? And you can keep going, and as you look at these tutorials and as you watch more videos from myself or other people, I highly encourage you to watch as many videos as you can, especially if you're trying to improve and grow. You're going to see what you can do with different things like trapdoors, slabs, stairs, fences, fence gates, and everything that typically you can use for building blocks. And then you can just put them together and experiment. So like, you can develop easily, very quickly. You can see you're developing from a very basic chair to over here to suddenly it's a very short chair that has half a back compared to the full door, but it does the job still. Signs can do a very similar effect, like so, and it's just another way to do it. So it's a little bit more, not minimalistic, but it's a little bit less bulky, it's a little bit shorter, it's a little bit more detailed if you want something that's not quite so obvious. It's a little bit smaller of an effect, but it's hugely impactful depending on what you want to do. And so maybe, do I want a pillow? Maybe a sign is a pillow. The thing that's so great about Minecraft is you can literally experiment and do whatever you want. For the most part, it's about your imagination, and it's about how people use different blocks to their advantage. And that's one thing I love about Minecraft. There's so many conversations going on all the time. Every update, people want more blocks, people want different types of blocks. People want blocks we already have, but for different textures that might not have it. For example, concrete. Some people want concrete slabs and stairs, the same as we have stone stairs and slabs. But until we get what people ask for, or until Mojang adds more updates and more blocks and keeps updating, which they've been doing phenomenal with, we really have to experiment. And it's really interesting to me seeing the interpretation that people have. So like this, again, a pillow, just a simple sign. That's it. And if you want something a little bit thicker, I used snow here. So this block here, instead of using a slab, because I wanted it a little bit thicker, I just do snow like that. And then you can have a little bit thicker, a little bit thinner, depending on what you're looking for. So this is like a nice plush seat. And then you got, again, you move on, you got your basic. Almost everyone's seen back with scaffolding. But then again, be careful, because what's the point of your furniture? Do you want it to be used? Do you want people to actually sit on it in the game? Then you might not want to use things like pressure plates, because it will be a chair that you have to reset every single time you use it. Where if you want something that people will sit on, anything else might be better that doesn't have redstone components to it. Or again, if you want it to be function versus looks, you can do you can do a chair with a minecart, which is not anything new. Again, lots of people have done this before, but it gives you something so you feel like you're actually sitting down, which a lot of people like. When you move on and you keep thinking about these things, like what's the purpose, what's the point of this furniture, you can really get to have fun with it. If you add item frames and a grindstone, you see here it kind of looks like a lounge chair that you can pull and have your footstool kind of pop up. And over here is the exact same thing with, that's what it looks like with the footstool popped up. So yeah, again, like I said, Minecraft is a lot of interpretation, but it's a lot of opportunities for you to explore and experiment and have fun. Building on top of this, so those are kind of the basics. Like everyone kind of has seen either the front row, I think similar to the front row, but then when you can move on, you can say again, what do I want? What does my furniture need? So something, for example, is typically a chair or couch or furniture. Actually, no, I take it back. Chair or couch, they usually need armrests. What does Minecraft have? Just look at the blocks and see what it has that you can use. So you could use signs, you can use item frames, you can use even banners. And again, here's my stairs, and again, more snow for like kind of a lounge sectional, which is really nice. And then moving on, again, this is another example of function. Do I want to sleep? Oh, I can't sleep in the day, but I can sleep if I want to just have a space where I can just go back to my base, quickly pop into whatever the main room is that I enter into, and just sleep. So on top of what do I need? Usually it's a back, arms, some kind of cushion. Do I want it to be thick? Like this is a beefy couch, but my back isn't super beefy because I used stairs backwards. So depending on what I want to do, pretend this is like against a wall. Yeah, I'm stuck. It makes it a lot less like, these are obviously beefy sides, but it makes the back less thick and a lot more imposing on the space, especially when you have such thick armrests. And then moving on, you can experiment again with some fences. This is kind of like an outdoor summer comfy. Maybe there's a fire pit like right there. What works for canopies? Again, you can use carpet, or you could use trapdoors again. It's really up to your imagination. Going back to snow, snow is actually one of my favorite. It's not a block, but it's one of my favorite things that you can use in Minecraft, because you can make it look like, literally, look, this is my side of the couch, or bench or whatever, and because of that, it's kind of sunken in. You can tell the other side's not being used at all because it's not sunken in. You have things like, what are the mechanics of Minecraft? So on top of what do I have for blocks that I can use, but also what does Minecraft do? Like the physics make no sense in Minecraft at all. Sometimes they do, and you're like, yeah, obviously this is a thing that is applicable to real life. And then there's things where it's like, I have a banner in the ground. It's a blue one, but my updates don't like it. So I have a banner in the ground, and I have a slab on top, so it looks like a pillow. Again, this is a very common thing that you can see, but that's something where you get to play with the physics of Minecraft and how you can do different things. Depending on what you want, what components do you need to furniture? Another question I like to ask myself often is, what's the scale? So you see all these builds, like this here is again a sofa couch, which is like this compared to this, or even this. This is beefy. Like this is like a thick boy. And so that's really like, this would be for a house that's more like a mansion or something that's probably at least 20 blocks by 20 blocks for a room that might have some bigger furniture or more space to work with. And you want to fill that space and you don't know how. This is what you might do, is instead of using these smaller blocks like trapdoors or signs, you might go for something bigger like this, where it takes up slightly more space, and you might be able to add more detail if you put signs, like, for example, on the sides or whatever you can do. So scale is very important when building, because then you get to basically, like, if you're overwhelmed with how much you can do, that you're like, I don't even know what to do, or I don't even know where to start. If you think about, what do I want to do? So is it a story? Is it detail? Is it a main feature? And what's the scale? Is it big? Is it small? Is it kind of just oddly shaped? Then those are kind of some of the biggest questions I try to ask myself when I build interiors. I've actually struggled to make furniture and rooms usually, so these examples have actually taken me a long time to come up with. Even though half of them I've seen before. And so here we go, moving on. Like, again, what do you want to tell your story? Do I have a baby? Do you want a family to live here? You could have a high chair. Like, this can tell so much by doing the exact same thing as what's over there, but adding a sign to it and putting it on a post. If you want something higher up, you can experiment. So here we go. We got a brewing stand instead, which kind of adds a little bit more detail, and it makes it a little bit more like one of those stools where you can like adjust the height, and it has like actual handles for that, so that's really cool. And over here's the exact same thing, but different. So it has some grindstones, and then it has some things on top for the seat. These would be really good for looks, but also function. So do I want to have a grindstone available in my base, but I don't want it to be obvious? Make it part of your base. There's nothing wrong with making things part of your base and have them look nice. This is another kind of experiment with like a lazy boy, where it's a loom backwards, because you see that the front kind of looks like one of those foot kick thingies. I have fence gates in the back to try to look like it has something supporting it, and if I pull something, this is going to go back, and then I'm going to be able to stretch right out while I watch my TV and my Disney movies and my whatever I'm doing, or if I'm playing video games. This is the chair I want. If you want something like a cushion on top, snow, sometimes a pressure plate if you don't need redstone, like this one here. Sometimes simplicity is all you need. Like, you can do so much with very little, and not everything has to be highly detailed. Here's a similar concept. This is another lazy boy kind of concept. Maybe it's like because it's higher up, maybe it's something like what you see in a hair salon or a barber shop. And again, simplicity, just literally some trapdoors. And again, so if you look at all of your builds, so when you say like, what do I want to do? What is the point of this entire space? Another question to ask yourself is, where is my furniture or my room or whatever I'm building? Where is it visible from, and what can you see? So depending on what I'm doing, I try to take a look at that kind of image from as many perspectives as I can and as many distances. So for example, this one and even this couch over here, what if it's something that you might see the back on, I can't jump here. If there's something I want to see a back on, like maybe this is a stool that's at a bar top, and then I'm going to be walking in the restaurant part here, or maybe this is a separator couch that separates the living room and the kitchen. I might want to have the back a little bit decorated instead of just a typical wall like that, or if it's going to be against the wall, so like this, then I might want to, it doesn't matter, I would want to get rid of that back spot. And again, so looking at how many things does Minecraft have that looks like this kind of thing, like fence posts, the brewing stand ahead, chains, iron bars. There's so many options, especially now. Maybe, again, simple, very basic. Everyone has seen this couch design. Everyone has used this couch design. But maybe you want to add a little bit more detail. Like maybe I want to make this a little bit more frou-frou and fancy. You can literally add like designs to your signs by just typing stuff. Again, if I'm doing like back here, if I can see the back of the couch, I kind of want the back to have a little bit more detail than just existing, depending on the situation. Once you kind of have an idea of that, you can really experiment and have fun. So like if you have like a corner lounge kind of comfy situation, you got some mugs for drinks just kind of hanging out. Over here we have, again, so this is a little bit more like maybe futuristic, or maybe a really clean, pristine, bigger house or bigger build. You can see the staircase here is the chair, like the seat, but everything else, like it's made of glass. That's not something you see very often. And when you're adding detail, like how much detail do you want? If I want just a little bit and not full slabs, I can do a carpet and trapdoors, and that just adds a tiny bit of shape that you might not get otherwise. And this is something that most people have seen to some degree. A chair that maybe people who might be not wanting to be in for whatever reason. Here it is. You got some like little cuffs for your hands. Maybe you got like a little red fiery hot thing up there. You can experiment, play, and back to the detail again. This one here is 2 trapdoors. Slabs don't exactly work. They either go way too high or too low, and like I don't know if this is actually the same. I don't know if this is the same thickness as a slab or not. No, I think it is. Yeah. So this is kind of like that middle ground. And again, like playing with mechanics if you want. These are just armor stands. Many tutorials, or even one of those 100 chair ideas, or 20 furniture inspiration ideas on Pinterest or Google Maps or Google Images. You can see a lot of this. You can see a lot of this right here, and a lot of most of these pieces of chair. Most of these chairs and couches as well. This is a little detail too, because maybe I don't want my arm rests to be attached to the back of the attached to the sides of the chair. Maybe I think it's cool to just like have a little gap, because that exists in real life, is chairs with gaps. Yep. This one, again, it's similar to the idea that's way over there, a small sectional, but it's with snow and a bed. So again, like the options are limitless, and then eventually, like this is again is a nice little. It's not super massive. It's a nice short, small couch, but it has details, so you can see like the back has an arch to it. You can see the dent where people like to sit. The only thing with things like snow, again, you have to keep in mind mechanics of Minecraft. So if you have torches or any kind of heat source, you might have to be careful to make sure nothing's gonna melt your snow, because I've definitely had that happen before, and let me tell you, it is not fun. When you get this and you know what you want to do, you can really experiment. So you can see the different scales, you can see the different perspectives, you can see the different, like, am I telling a story? Do I just need a couch for the sake of having a couch to fill space? Eventually, you might be able to build something that everyone wants to build. It's almost like a rite of passage, now that I think about it, in Minecraft, is once you have a throne, you're good. You're legit. So Here's my throne. I hope that means I'm legit now. I kind of took a bunch of those different things, like details, different sizes of things. Again, instead of using all of one block for the gray, I have kind of some polished andesite, some regular andesite, some stone to kind of add texture and interest, which is something you see a lot of. And yeah, and that's basically it. Those are my tips for building furniture, or at least chairs. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. And please don't feel afraid. Like, I know furniture and building and creating an entire concept from blocks can be very intimidating. But at the end of the day, Minecraft is a game. And I don't know about you, but I typically like to have fun when I play games. And most people typically like to have fun. And the whole point of video games is to have fun. So don't be afraid to experiment, play, don't even know what the heck you're doing, but just do it anyways. And don't be afraid to fail or make mistakes or just make terrible, like atrocious looking builds, because that's how you learn and that's how you grow. And with that, I know it was a little bit fast at times when I was talking, but I didn't realize how much I had to talk about before I started doing this, even with my stuff written down. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. Again, thank you so much. And if you like this video, please feel free to like, subscribe, and hit that cowbell. And I will see you next time. Bye.